Millions of people have experienced paranormal phenomena around the world.
Are you okay? Oh my god! It's alright!
Most are terrified from it.
Jeez! Jeez!
But there are the few that seek for the answers. My name is Matt Benton. I have been investigating the paranormal for a decade, and I am joining with Rocky from Chill Seekers to interview investigators across the globe to talk about their scariest and most extreme cases, to learn and share their stories. What truly happens out there? And what is the best evidence they can provide to show the phenomena is truly real? Welcome to Devil's Hour Live. Welcome back to Devil's Hour. I was about to say Devil's Hour Productions, but I meant to say Devil's Hour Live. We have, the original guys, Rocky and Dwayne. You can tell that this stuff's kicking in. I just took a whole bunch of pre-workout for this.
We could definitely tell. And I just want to say, I want to send a shout out to our new sponsor, a publisher, who's going to be writing the book, My Bird Arms and Me by Matt Benton. It's a story about a great man who tried to overconquer a legend, a rock star. And that book will be coming out December 1st, 2020. Thank you.
It's going to end very shortly with his disappointment. Okay, well, yes, we have Rocky and Dwayne, and we are also here with a special guest, Jay Yates. Is your wife joining us, or just you for right now?
I thought she was joining me, but she's kind of been sick for the past couple hours now. So I thought she was going to be able to take it on, but I think she's kind of passed out. So it's going to be me tonight, guys. Unfortunately.
No problem. So welcome. It's nice to have you on here. We have a lot of questions and a lot of things to go over. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Jay.
But what?
What got you started into the paranormal? Why did you start doing the paranormal?
That's a really good question. I kind of grew up haunted and experiencing stuff I couldn't really explain. So as a child, I was pretty terrified by some of the things I would see. I would see children as they appear at the moments of death. So if that was by a car accident, drowning, fire, I would see these kids and they would appear to me wherever I was at, really. And they were non-communicative, meaning they weren't verbal. They didn't say anything, which made it even more terrifying for me as a child. I was psychologically evaluated every year because of some of these experiences that I had. And I would always pass these tests. And the doctors would just be like, well, he has an overactive imagination, or maybe he's actually seeing something. And that kind of progressed into my teenage years. I think doctors and everyone thought I was going to grow out of it. I just kind of kept it internally. As teenage years, it seemed like it just progressively got darker, more sinister. And then in about late 1999, I had a near-death experience. I kind of vowed, if I was able to come back, that I would tell the world that there was life after death, I guess you could say. So I kind of fell into ministry for a while. The church hated me. They kicked me out. They thought that I focused too much on the end of the book and too much about angels and demons. And they hated the fact that I would spend time speaking to kids that had experiences on the paranormal side of things. So shortly thereafter, I was kind of lost, didn't really have anything to do or any aspirations. And I just got out of a bad relationship. And then here comes Marie. And I say that's about the time I turned her to the dark side, because she wasn't involved in any of the paranormal. She wasn't ghost hunting. She literally thought ghosts were just a created thing for television and had no idea. But together, we experienced our own haunting, and we reached out to the paranormal community and were rejected by multiple teams. Clergy wouldn't help us out. So I kind of leaned back towards what faith I had left. and we kind of took it on ourselves. And I say we weren't necessarily triumphant because I feel like I have a lot of attachments. We are what is labeled as like haunted survivors. So we continue to be haunted by some of these things. It's not like they've gone away. We've just learned that balancing act between living amongst both the living and the dead, if that makes sense, and how to deal with it. And we kind of use our own trials and tribulations as a testimony for like our clients that we serve. So in a way, like, you know, us ghost hunting and doing all the lectures we do and the speaking engagements or television, it's kind of like my platform to fulfill my promise that I had if I came back, is that I would show the world that there was life after death.
That sounds intriguing. So, do you mind talking about how what happened with your whole experience with your near-death experience? And you're an NDE, huh?
Yeah. Yep. Well, I mean, in high school, I was heavily involved in my young, you know, teenage years and into the 20s. I was heavily involved into competitive powerlifting. So I was like, I was like, can you cuss on this or no? Sorry. I was like 17 years old and I was bench pressing like 500 pounds, dude. I was a huge dude. I was an animal and I was expected to act that way everywhere I went. So I kind of fell into that crowd to where, you know, Jay's this gigantic like powerlifting dude. Like he's supposed to drink excessively, eat excessively, act excessively. And one night it went a little too far. And I saw myself from a ghost perspective, my shell, if you will. And you know, it was a battle to come back. It really was. And I didn't think I was going to. So I have a perspective like from the other side that some don't. I don't gloat about it because I'm not proud about how it happened. But if I can use it as a tool or you know, like a advice to help, like, you know, people that are going through this and give them advice and encouragements, then I mean, that's what I use it for.
Yes. I just want to say one thing. Thank you very much for coming such short notice. Our last person had to cancel. So, but yeah, that's very interesting, man. When it comes to, did I see something about you being involved in like EMT work or something like that, or was that someone else? Okay.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
Were you involved with EMT work or something like that?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that was someone else then. I was looking at then. Basically, so you were you had those experiences as a when you're younger. You saw yourself like over your own body type of thing.
Right. Well, you mentioned EMT. I was law enforcement, so I worked law enforcement for 10 years. So from like 05 to 15. So I've gone public about experiences that happened with me when I worked the jails. On a couple different shows, one in more length than the other. But yeah, no, I visually saw myself sitting in the car that I was in. I saw my future. I saw my funeral, the effect that it took on my family. I saw what my casket looked like, the photos that were on top of my casket. I was able to read an article in a magazine that was written about me. I saw the news stories and whatnot throughout. What would happen after, you know, like, you know, I had passed. So with that being said, I definitely, you know, I didn't accept it, I guess, and I kind of fought to get back to my body, and it was a process that I guess took like several like hours because I was kind of forgotten and just thrown in my car like, oh, it'll be okay. No, I wasn't okay.
Yeah. Well, man, sounds like an interesting experience. It sounds like a tough one too.
Yeah.
So was that like at that moment you wanted to like just like show everyone that this was legitimate, this is real, and you had that was your defining moment basically of wanting to do this?
Yeah, I mean, like I didn't know really what, like, I mean, I knew what ghost hunting was, I guess, to a point, but I really didn't know like what that meant, like what you needed to, you know, to do to make that happen or whatnot. I looked at people growing up like Ed and Lorraine Warren, and I would look forward to those like special news interviews with them because we didn't have like, you know, these ghost hunting shows to look at, emulate, understand. So you were kind of alone. It wasn't something you really talked about, you know. So with that being said, those are people that I definitely I looked up to. But in the 1990s ish, like, I mean, there really wasn't like a book that showed you like what to do. So when I was a teenager, I was definitely like not asking permission, and I don't encourage that to get into locations because that led me before I got into law enforcement to have a warrant out for my arrest and a whole bunch of stuff for trespassing. And I almost got shot by the property owner. So it's very serious for you people out there that are trying to do that kind of stuff without permission. Like, definitely get permission. But that definitely changed my direction then to like really trying to understand what it was. And you know, back then I thought like, you know, dust was like ghosts and stuff like that, you know, and I was using disposable cameras and things like that.
Don't worry, when I was a part of Soul Seekers, when I was a part of Soul Seekers, I added a couple like I would call dust orbs today into my old videos. But yeah, we all learned. We all start from somewhere. I even did the flashlight thing in the beginning too. So like, yeah, we all start from somewhere. I just wanted to give everyone in the chat a little shout out. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. It's Dan and Nikki and Robert, awesome Robert, and Jamie. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate all your support, especially on YouTube channel, because it really helps grow the channel. The more watch time we get and stuff like that. If you guys haven't subscribed to Devil's Hour Productions, please go do that.
John G said hi to Jay.
Oh, hello.
Subscribe.
Where was that? Where's that?
Devil's Hour Productions on YouTube.
Yes, please subscribe. And also, here, actually, do this.
Subscribe.
YouTube. Subscribe. I wonder if we're allowed to do it in the comments that doesn't affect the algorithm on, because apparently when you guys when you post like on the chat, as a post, and you put your a YouTube link on your Facebook, apparently that affects the algorithm. I was like, wow, I guess Facebook really hates YouTube. So I don't know if it's the same thing if you do it. I don't know if it's the same thing if you do it in the comments, but here you go. Everyone, please go subscribe. Just posted it in there. Anyway, so we have thank you all for the support again. And so all these years, how many years exactly have you been investigating, out of curiosity?
I mean, like real investigating, or like I've been like poking around and like investigating like buildings and locations since probably like the late 1990s, all the way up to like today. So and you learn a lot, you know what I mean? You learn a lot from the beginning. TV helped a lot, like shows like, you know, Ghost Hunters and stuff, coming around and seeing some of the different technologies and just being dumbfounded because you would never have enough money to have any of that stuff back then. Like a night vision camera was like unheard of, you know, like, you know, back in the day, other than something like Night Shot or something, you know. Other than that, I mean, like, you know, it just come a long way. So, but yeah, since about then, I started taking residential cases with my wife, early 2000s. And then before that, we were doing like historical locations, things like that. The whole TV side of stuff was never like, never planned. I didn't even know that was a thing, you know, like you became like a ghost hunter and that was like your lifestyle. It's kind of like a life you chose to live. I didn't know that would bring about attention for like media and publicity, and that was never part of the equation. And I think the first show we ever did was My Ghost Stories like 9 years ago or something, and they called me and they were like, yeah, I want you on TV. And at first I was kind of reluctant, and then like they told me that they would give us free tickets to Los Angeles and put us up in this hotel and stuff, and we're like, okay, cool, yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah.
But my wife, she literally like pulled all of her mic equipment off during the airing or the filming of it because they were trying to get her to say stuff that wasn't true, and
Oh, really? They were?
Oh,
Oh, really?
it's so bad.
Oh, so that was the ghost stories. Oh, wait, are you signing NDAs or something that you're not allowed to say stuff?
If I did, then I don't remember that. And they didn't give that to me to say that. No,
Well-
but I mean, it was just definitely they just wanted more theatrics. They wanted more like emotion that really wasn't there. My wife wasn't willing to show.
Well, yeah,
untrue
I would be the same way. Like when I was working for Discovery Channel, we were doing a show. Like most of it was real. Actually, they actually had the people in there and actually stay in the cave system for 5 days, being in the dark. But we added. I was one of the people that we added the snakes and the water mudslide thing. We made all.
All right,
we did all that.
They're not doing anything. Get the snakes.
they make it more entertaining. They add all that stuff.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I can only imagine. That's horrible.
That's funny. Obviously, they're not poisonous snakes and stuff. But yeah, I from that they also kind of added that little theatrical side to it. But a lot of it was legitimate for them. It seemed like I wasn't in there when they were filming the guests though. They probably could have done other things. It was like a little just behind the scenes stuff. But anyway, so was it like that for all the shows that you're part of, or was it only that one?
No, I mean it was just my first experience realizing that like TV is entertainment, and I didn't realize what that was before going on there. So I thought it was like, oh, you just go in there and just tell things as they were. I didn't realize that they wanted theatrics and emotion. Since then, I've filmed I don't know how many different shows, man. Haunted Case Files is the show that we've been on for the second season. I think it's like 10 or 12 episodes that we have deep with them for first season, second season. That's both aired on Travel Channel. We're waiting around to see if they're going to give a third season and what network that's going to be. Hopefully, Travel Channel. I got some stuff out there too for some other projects, some one pages that are being looked at by some really great people right now. So I'm hoping that kind of comes around. But we're always working with Ghost Adventures, like behind the scenes kind of stuff. We regularly get like phone calls for locations and different stuff like that. So we've worked in front of the camera and behind the scenes with them for a lot of years now, actually. But I don't know. I mean, you say that you're not going to do it, again, and then you end up doing it again and again. But the reality is that, like when I'm staying out there on some of these storytelling shows or investigation shows, what I'm doing and what I'm saying is exactly what happened. If there's someone reenacting myself or whatever, sometimes it doesn't always follow that same format, either by accident or on purpose. We don't know. Yeah.
Understandable. So did you you said you started like in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
And you're mainly doing client cases during that time period? Or were you doing
not until about like early 2000s, maybe 2004, something like that, when we started taking where we felt comfortable in being able to do that. Because prior to that, we were experiencing our own haunting and looking for help ourselves. So once we figured out a way to kind of deal with that on our own, we kind of made it a mission to go out and help other families that struggled like we did. And in the process of doing that, started taking on cases. I mean, we still take residential cases, but after being on television and your face kind of being known or your name kind of being known, you find too many people seeking like 15 minutes of fame, stuff like that. And there's a huge liability concern too, like now, because then people assume that you're like fully loaded and stuff because you've been seen on Travel Channel like 8 times that weekend on reruns or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, we definitely screen everyone that we go out to investigate currently. And, we have a huge like steps that we follow before we even go into a home if we even do. Oftentimes, Marie and I spend a lot of times these days, once a month, getting back to all the people that reach out to us. And we call them like paranormal consultations, like just literally just sitting down on Skype or on by phone, talking to them about like, what's going on and, like not trying to, debunk what's happening, but like, really putting things in perspective. Like if they have like footsteps down the hallway and a door slams, we kind of try to put that in perspective for them. Like at the end of the day, it's footsteps and a door slam. Can footsteps hurt you? No. Can they scare you? Yes. When we kind of go through this whole process of just elimination and things of just lowering the fear level, which tends to lower the level of activity in a lot of cases.
Okay. We have a question. We got our first, I think. So question for you guys. Do you have any other options about other ghost shows out there? Other options, like as in, what do you mean by that? Like different show ideas?
I think she meant
I think we
opinions.
all as ghost hunters have like show ideas. Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
shows that I watch. And you know, like some people ask me, I still watch Ghost Adventures. I find it entertaining. Like, you know, like I'll still be an avid watcher of that show. I haven't watched too many of like the new shows. I definitely enjoyed Paranormal Lockdown. I thought that was a really cool show with Katrina and Nick Roth. It's unfortunate that that's not airing still. But I don't know. I think as ghost hunters, when we watch ghost hunting shows, it's too much like, you know, a guy watching a football game. You know, you're screaming and critiquing and yelling at the TV and that kind of stuff. So I really can't handle it too much.
Yeah, it is kind of annoying, especially when you're like the part that still annoys me the most is that when they literally run away from when actually something happens. I'm like, aren't you an investigator? You're like there for that reason, and you've been doing this for how many years, and you're still running away? Come on now.
Yeah. You traveled 3,000 miles to finally run away when you face what it is you wanted to do.
Yeah, I don't that part I will never understand, and I know there's a lot of them out there, and that's like literally going to hiring an exterminator for your like you have a bug problem, and then he runs away from the bugs. I'm like, what the hell? So I'm like, okay, well, yeah, that's something that I've never seen anyone in my team do, or anyone, most of the people I've worked with do. So, yeah, so I'm just saying.
No, I get it. I feel the same way.
But yeah, so during all your cases, what this show's about, like talking about like the most extreme cases investigators have gone through, and also sharing their opinion, their best pieces of evidence. Let's go over like first, what is your most extreme case? You don't have to have this one captured on video or anything, but if it is the one you sent me, then that's cool. But what would be your most extreme case out of curiosity?
My most extreme case would be an investigation I took of my mother-in-law's home after the passing of my wife's grandmother. It was featured on Haunted Case File Season 1. It was one of those cases where I kind of went into very arrogant and assuming that I knew everything, right? Which was the biggest mistake, number one. Number two, like back in the day, I used to do a lot of house clearings and cleansings and stuff. Like the way I went about the cleansing was in arrogance and not in the right, like, you know, manner. And I paid for it. And my wife did too. My wife actually lost consciousness and stopped breathing for several minutes, and she had to be taken out of the house. So for me, I mean, seeing my wife in that condition and it being for something like ghost hunting that I brought into her life, it definitely for me was like absolutely extreme. But she's like a warrior, man. Like when she came out of it after we got her outside, we wanted to take her to the hospital, and the first thing she said is, "I'm going back inside." And she did, man. And I mean, she kicked its ass, dude. I mean, like she's amazing.
Wasn't the entity in a closet?
Yes.
Okay.
It was like a large walk-in closet. It was one of those old doors in homes you saw like in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, where the closet door would roll into the actual wall itself. And I don't know whether the door was getting stuck or if it was being held. But there was movement of objects in there. Freaked me out. I threw like $300 worth of equipment like on the floor, on the desk the first time it happened. And I was like, I'm done. We're leaving. I'm not prepared for this. I was wrong. Let's go. But my wife was insistent upon let's do this. And then, you know, obviously like one of the worst things that could happen is that funny thing is my camera guy, Richard Hoitenga, great dude. He was rolling like the whole time. And I'm like, dude, like she's dying, bro. And I'm like, why are you filming? And he said, because you told me that if I stopped filming, I get kicked off the team. And I was like, dude, seriously? Like now's not the time for that. Like, you know, but it's funny because on Haunted Case Files, the story kind of got mixed up. Like to where like I picked her up off the threshold. I was too freaked out to pick her up. My camera guy set the camera down and picked her up himself because I was in no state of mind to even do anything. I was losing it. And as soon as she sat on a windowsill, she like put her head down and this huge like breath of air in. Color started coming back to her face. She had scratches like all over her neck. She was bleeding. And she's like, I'm going back in. And it ended up being, I think a human entity, something just, if you're an asshole in life, you're an asshole in death. And I think what this thing was a really big prick in life. And it kind of attached itself to her grandmother. And there was a lot of lies said that, like this thing led to the death of her grandmother. My wife had to kind of witness that in her state that she was in. And she was kind of like bound, helpless. I wish she was here to tell the story because she tells it best. Yeah, dude, that for me, and ever since then though, like, and you learn from stuff like that, like on cases where, that was a long time ago. Like, Haunted Case Files aired for season 1, but that was years and years back when we had done it. And if you see any photos of me at that time, I was much slimmer and much more handsome. So, like, definitely, like, not that, it was definitely years apart. But with that being said, like, yeah, just a huge reminder not to go into a case like an idiot and think you know everything and assume that you know everything that can happen because you don't know. But at the end of the case, what was really cool was after it was all said and done and the house was cleared, we got a recording from my sons saying, "We love you, Grandma, we miss you." And we played that recording inside the room where all this took place. And we got an EVP from her grandmother saying, "I love you." So for us, it was, dude, I can't even tell you how emotional it is. Especially for my wife.
Are you still affected by this entity to this day, or has it somehow surpassed during all these years?
With that particular case?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I pick up a lot of attachments, man. I feel like a magnet, for years I walked around really arrogant too. And I admit it, to where we'd always joke, like, oh, we don't use paranormal protection, and for us, it's because we didn't have any faith in any object or anything or any ritual. And the way we always looked at it was if you play with fire, you get burned. But after my wife, like, she's got a lot of autoimmune system, issues and stuff. I believe directly caused from this field. She's received direct contact from spirits by touching, scratching. I sent you a video over of some evidence. And I think that was one of those cases that was like, I wish I would never have gone on, because I think that helped kind of solidify that what she deals with today, which some days are easier than others for her and whatnot. But I don't blame the field for it. But I think, decade or more of being out past, like midnight, not coming home till 5 a.m, not sleeping, going to your regular job, and not eating right, and being always. And let's be honest, we could all sit here and act like we know what the side of us being around spirits are, but we really don't have any clue what it is. We don't know how that affects us long term. We don't know if that can cause like disabilities, diseases, illnesses. We have no idea. We assume that it doesn't, but I've been seeing a lot of people, and I've been following this a lot now, especially with my wife going through what she goes through. And I have to say, man, it seems like there's some type of connection, and I'd really love to, be able to pass that on any opportunity I get in podcasts or radio or television, just for people to be safe out there. And protection is important while you're out there. And if you're not in a sound mind and you got stress already, it might be a good idea to step out. There's no shame in stepping out of a case and taking a couple of weeks off and resetting and stuff, because we went like balls to the walls for like, God, I don't know, like 15 years or something, man. Just like almost like every weekend. And then now, we're not doing much better. Like, you think that we learn? We're not.
I totally agree with that statement. I believe it does take a toll, as years come by. I really do believe that. So, yeah.
Yeah. To this day, I'm still waiting for one to attack me during an investigation.
This guy's crazy. Jay, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm telling you, this guy, he's right now in the playing with fire and the egotistical. You talking about that? That's that guy over there. I'm laying there. Oh.
Yeah. Still waiting, because I kind of like physical stuff doesn't bother me. Like, if I ever good day get attacked, I'm okay with it.
I've been attacked very few times, maybe once or twice. And once for sure, as far as like a physical attack where you can see the remnants of the scratch marks. But honestly, like my wife always makes a point when she's on is that she feels a lot of times like these attacks aren't so much attacks, but a form of communication. So like we ask for them to like give us a sign of their presence, and then we're talking to them, and then we walk away. And oftentimes Marie will get scratched in her back, as she's turning away. And we don't know what that response time is from when we send a message to them to the time they receive it before they could send it back to us. You see what I'm saying? So that's like her theory on that, is that even though it may appear like an attack with her, that it's more like a sign of communication. Or maybe that like some people are kind of like, she jokes and says like allergic to the spirits, or something. Like there's just something about it that causes these bruises, these marks. I mean, there's stuff that I've seen, and again, like, and I always said nothing's ever happened to me, but if something did happen to me, it wouldn't bother me. But my wife is my life, right? So what better if you want to go after me? You're not going to come for me because I'm already ready to go, like whatever. But going after my wife, that's my one thing that the spirits know that's really going to get attention and really piss me off. And it made me change the way I investigated and everything, by seeing some of these patterns over and over and over again. It's hard to believe since you've been there and seen it,
I was going to say, since you said you started off and not having some type of paranormal protection, do you use any type of protection now when you do like any cases, investigations?
I think we've both learned how to like ground ourselves a lot, like, and we've learned like our own method of meditation and stuff before going in and clearing our minds. Also like reminding ourselves of our own personal faith. I wouldn't call us Christians anymore because I mean, it's too political for me, man. Like I believe in a higher God and a creator and all that stuff,
right.
But I can't put a label on it anymore, dude. I've seen and been around too many groups of people and believe a little bit of everything right now. But just drawing upon that initial faith I had as a kid and kind of harnessing that before going into an investigation seems to really help. At least.
Do you believe in demonic entities or anything of that nature, angels? Or
yeah, I mean, I've investigated a lot of places, man, and there's only one place I've ever investigated where I knew I was onto something inhuman that was demonic. I think it's a very rare occurrence. I mean, I was talking to someone here recently, and they were talking about, we went on this demonic case and this demonic case, and I'm like. And good for you, I guess, if you're getting those kind of cases. But I mean, for me, at this point in my life, I would have to really sit back and think about whether or not I would even take on a demonic case at this point in my life with everything I have going on. Because a demonic case, it's not just when you're there investigating the home anymore. Because once you become involved with that, I mean, it encompasses your own life as an investigator. It affects your own family. It affects everything in your own life. You're putting yourself at risk. It's a huge gamble. And it's I've seen the damage it can do within my own family. So I definitely believe in it. I just believe that it's super, super rare and often misinterpreted by, I call them lower levels or malignant spirits and whatnot. I just think people are just really big assholes. And sometimes in death, they're just living that on, man. And sometimes they put on that personification that there's something darker because maybe in life they were influenced by demons. So they're acting in that type of manner in death, but they don't have that same power. They're more of a puppet. It's kind of how I would describe it.
I had a question from Jamie Jenkins. Where are you located from? I think it's Arizona. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're out of just outside of Phoenix in Buckeye, Arizona. We work out of Vulture City, Ghostown, which is about 15 minutes from Wickenburg and about 45 minutes from Phoenix.
So I have a question. Have you had any experiences with UFOs?
You know what? That's actually that's something that's been coming up a lot here lately. As a younger guy, I experienced the Phoenix Lights, which a lot of us know about. It flew over my house, and I had like an old set of binoculars, so I was able to see what it looked like. I would have been able to see it with my own eyes. So I definitely saw those lights. I saw the ship, if you will, or whatever kind of craft it was. It appeared to be liquid, and it was a mirrored effect to it when I saw it. But it was definitely an object in the sky, very large in my perception back then in the day. And then more recently, in the past year, at the ghost town that we work at, it's so far out of town. The skies are a lot more clear, so you're able to see a lot more. We had finished up a tour, and we had about 30 people walking back up to their cars. And all of a sudden, we thought what we saw was like a shooting star kind of coming down, and it changed trajectory and shot like straight back up. And we're like, okay, that defies like gravity. That doesn't make any sense. Everyone stopped. No one moved for like minutes or said a word. Probably 2 or 3 months before that, there was a paranormal team like Chicago or something that came out to Arizona to lock down in the town that we work at, and I was there overseeing that. And I happened to look up in the sky, and I saw I don't know if I can describe it as like some type of like ship, and it shot across the full skyline in less than like a second. I couldn't identify it. I don't know what it was.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
UFOs.
we've heard some correlation with the paranormal being with UFOs here lately.
Yeah. I want to be
So
abducted.
Wow. I love questions. I'm going to reserve those for off the air.
No, I don't want to be probed or anything, but and I want to be brought back alive, but I wouldn't mind being abducted. I like being brought back. Yeah, see
They
what's
drop
all
them off
about.
like 10 minutes later.
It's like no,
We
they
can't
cannot
deal
this
with
one.
this. Drop them off.
I just keep asking a bunch of
kinda
questions.
believe
I'm just
that,
kidding.
like aliens and like I mean aliens and demons and some of the sightings, people like claiming of demonic, attacks and things are very similar and mirrored with like what we call grays and whatnot. A lot of the demonic things that I've seen personally in my life, in my own personal life, which far exceeds anything I've ever seen out in the field alone. But in my own personal life growing up, like I used to have these, I would always describe them as demonic beings that would visit me that would look very similar to a gray. And they would scare the shit out of me, man. I don't think I was ever probed, though. I don't think so.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, yeah, I think it'll be really cool. Like, I don't care if they like
Really
make
cool to
me
be
to wear.
probed?
No. Really cool for the investigation part. Like, I want a lot of crazy things to happen. Like you guys go watch the episode of The Haunted Side. Like when things happen like big, I get excited.
Like a pebble or a rock or
Yeah, like some things happen in our most recent investigation.
He gets giddy. He gets giddy on an
I get like,
investigation.
I'm like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. The just let you guys know, part 2 it gets even crazier for if people have watched it. Some of them in the chat have. Part 2 of the Haunted Side episode for the hospital, it gets even crazier than what you watched, and what already happened in part 1 is pretty crazy. So, and it's exciting once you have like real legitimate activity, like things thrown. We have a legitimate poltergeist-like case, it seems like, in this one, because I'm just gonna say things are thrown a lot in this location. Awesome. But anyway,
Get out! We don't want you here. Oh man, too funny.
hello, Jackie. Hello.
Hi, Jackie.
Yes, I'm an excitable puppy. No. It's like, yes. Yeah. Yeah. The rocks being thrown. Yep. Anyway, so
I gotta say that was insane. That was the first time I've ever had a rock thrown at me. Was over at Mackay. Well, it was a pebble. I still kept the pebble. I'm gonna end up framing it or doing something with it. But yeah, I've never had a rock thrown at me before, ever until the Mackay match. That was.
what's interesting? Also, I found it interesting. You were mentioning like your wife and everything getting attacked and everything. I also find it interesting when I'm the one doing all the provoking and everything. Everyone else gets attacked except for me.
That's how I was for years. I was a very aggressive. I used to be a very aggressive investigator, and I mean with the law enforcement and everything, like I didn't know like any other way than to confront someone, because some of the cases we took, like some of the stories you hear, it kind of upset me, like what was going on. So I was legitimately like too much involved with it, you know? So I've had to like learn how to take a step back because I was kind of noticing my wife was kind of getting the blunt end of that. And I mean, it's not fair to her specifically. But not to say that that really stopped all of these things from happening, but it seemed to kind of like slow things down. So I think like every episode I've ever been on Ghost Adventures, Marie's been like scratched or some like lacerations or some shit, you know? But of course that show loves that.
Yeah, also the owner, or not owner, the caretaker of the Mackay Mansion, literally, it's only happened 2 times when someone's been scratched at the Mackay Mansion, and I was there for both of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was like, is there a weird correlation going on here? That's kind of weird. Only 2 times.
Wasn't it in the same place? Wasn't it in the same location of the scratches?
No. It's Mackay Mansion,
No?
but
Okay.
not in the same area. Because Jason, this is the more recent one. Jason was.
I meant the same area on the body as far as the scratches.
Oh, yeah. Lower back. Same area. Actually, Dante's is a little bit more higher up. It went from lower to up it went upwards. But they both look like burn marks. They look like burn marks.
Right.
They're welting like a burn. And so that's weird. And I'm going to be making a video about that, the return of the Mackay Mansion, like go a little behind the scenes and talk about it a little bit. But because I shot 4K, we did a live feed there. Shot 4K footage though that it hasn't been seen by people. So once Patrick sends me it, everyone tag Patrick and tell him to send me the footage, so I can edit this thing. But anyway, Jackie's like,
You still got a documentary to edit, don't you?
I know that too. I'm in the middle of Jackie's like, show those guns. Well, the problem is Rocky's missing them. Rocky's missing those.
Oh no!
I'm just kidding.
I'm a monster. I put up what was that? 290. I can't wait to get up to 5 plates like Jay, though. I'm telling you, I'm waiting for it. Give me 6 months, I probably will be up to 5 plates.
That was a long time
How
ago.
about beer? How about beer?
What was your weight class back then?
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
When I was at the 5, with the 5, I was about a 268, 269.
A monster.
That's where I'm about. Yeah, I'm trying to get up to 280. So
were about 22.25 inches at that time.
Right now I'm like 255, but I'm only like 175 pounds. So actually,
that's really good. Dude. That's huge. Yeah.
Thanks. But yeah, that's just one. But we'll see because it's going to increase.
5 plates.
But nah, I don't think I can do 5. I can do 5 smaller plates.
I can do 5 dinner plates now. That's for sure.
oh yeah.
45s, nah. But I'm planning to go like at least 3 45 plates and probably a little bit above that, hopefully. But we'll see. It's December 1st is our actual competition. Yep, flying out to Vegas. Do this.
Yeah.
You should be able to hit that. Was that 315? You should be able to hit that. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I should be able to hit that by then if I'm training all the time. So, but
just slow it down on the C4. Yeah, slow down on that C4, buddy.
That was funny because
dude,
guys, I was like so tired. I like woke up from a nap and I was like so tired, so I just like took a scoop and a half of this just to wake myself up for the show, and it's working. I'm awake now. But yes, if there's questions from anyone that wants to ask Jay something or any of us something, please do so. We will answer them right here. And just keep it family friendly. We are on Paranormal Warehouse and everything. Oh, thank you very much for being so nice.
Thank you, Antrolit.
Except I don't think I'm awesome, but these guys are.
I'll agree with that statement.
Too much C4. Yes, I know. Wait, well, no, not that one. I meant to say this. Yes, this is why I'm so hyper. I should be doing this for every live stream now because I feel so much better now. Just like get a whole bunch of C4 in me.
Oh man.
But anyway, we have some evidence by you, Jay.
Surprised you're not jumping around in your chair.
Nah, I
know,
don't get
right?
like that with caffeine. I'm decently controlled, but I just wake up.
That Saturday Night Live skit. I can't think where they had him tied down. I forgot. God damn it.
Oh man. So Jay, you have a case that you did. You sent me a video. Can you give me a little bit of information about this case before we show the evidence to everyone?
Yeah. It was a case that we had been working on for a while, and it was just continued issues going on, and we finally came in, to check things out. It was a family in distress that were experiencing stuff they couldn't explain. The child was at times acting as if it was influenced. She was influenced by something else. There was just some really crazy phenomenon happening at the house. And the family was wanting to flee the house. They didn't know what to do. They were in a financial situation where they couldn't just leave the location that they lived at, and they had a leasing agreement that they had to finish up, and they worried that this thing would follow them because the assumption was it had followed them from another location. We set to go out there and see what was going on, and immediately we were blown away by, I'd say, as far as interaction. It's pretty much, I didn't really have to edit the video much, because it was when we were in there, it was just one thing after another. And this was lights turning on command with questions. A light appears over my shoulder when I asked for it to appear in this mirror that supposedly had some type of an attachment. We heard scratching in the walls, man. It was intense. But to my understanding, the last time I spoke with a family, to my understanding, they were doing quite well, and that they weren't experiencing, the same stuff that they were back then, which was pretty intense for them. And I've used the video for educational purposes in the past, at lectures and stuff like that. But I've never it's never been put into television or a show. There's just some stuff I won't, just because in this one it's just too sensitive to me and to the family to do that.
Are you saying that you're giving me exclusive access to show to the Devil's Hour Productions?
Exclusive access.
So I try to find something.
Jay Yates.
Well, thank you. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, we have something interesting. I thought when I watched this footage, it's crap, this is pretty cool. This is interesting. Here, let me make a share screen real quick.
Can you take the Devil's Hour production stuff down while you're showing the video?
Yeah.
No.
We'll do.
I just thought I'd suggest that.
No, Dorian, we're going to cover your face, okay?
Hush, Rocky.
Hey. Okay, 1 second. Let me get this open real quick, and let me close any personal messages from people. 1 second.
OMG, LOL, JK, OMG, LOL, JK.
Okay, there we go. I got it now. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to share it. I just had to get the link that you sent me up. Okay. There we go. Okay. This is it, guys. The volume's all the way up.
Wow, look at that night vision. That's old school envy right there. Yes.
We can do a lot 10 minutes in here.
I don't know.
And you want to use someone's energy, possibly. You can use mine. If you're trying to manifest. But yeah, this is a real haunting. This is the real fucking deal. Whoever's making that go off, I'm asking you to come forward now and show yourself. That's from female.
Let's get out.
We're not getting out. We're living here now. This is our home. If there's anybody getting out, it's you, the one doing the getting out, not me. Once again, I fear nothing. Oh, I thought this one was going off. Now that one's going off. Oh. Yeah. Just gonna step out for a second.
My chest.
Right.
Ooh, hurts in there.
If there's anybody here, I heard that this mirror has an attachment of some kind. If that's true, then why don't you show yourself in this mirror instead of playing with my devices?
What was that? Did you see the flash?
Yeah, where did that come from?
I don't know.
Don't walk hard, walk very soft.
I'm not even moving. And it's going off. Quite a few of them are going off.
Come on, show yourself. Stop playing games.
What do you want with this family? So it's a family you want.
There's a noise in the child's room to my left.
If you're the one that touched my back, make something go off.
Ooh, got that shit on camera.
Okay, why did you touch my back? I'm not scared of you.
Nobody's scared of you. This is child school games. Parlor tricks. Show yourself. Wait, is that you?
Jake, you hear?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have the EVP going?
Yeah. Do you hear the clawing?
hear?
Do you hear the clawing?
Yeah.
Are you a demon? If you are, turn that light on. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Jake, look at my back.
Hold on. We're going to do some more really quick.
Hold on, no, you need to check my back. Like, it really hurts. I can't even lift my shirt.
Where?
I mean, I'm weak.
Where at on your back?
My back.
Show me. Point to
Like,
it.
right in this area.
Move your hand. Get the fuck out of here.
What?
Well, lift up your shirt. You have... Are you throwing up seriously?
No, not all the way.
You want to keep going?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Here is this. Now beginning of the session. Device in my hand you're going to talk through. Who are you? Haunt?
Wait, Jake, there's like something. Shadowy shit on your back.
Get off my back.
Okay. Interesting. Those scratches. There looked like a lot of scratches on there. Actually, here. Whoops. Where did I go? Okay, here we go. I thought the light thing was really cool.
I mean, I'm
like
weak.
literally right when you asked for, or what do you guys asked for, like the turning something on, or
Yeah,
or
yeah, and
it literally
film,
happens.
The fan light like turned on like out of nowhere, like, and that was operated by like a switch on the wall. Yeah, I don't know, man.
School game.
I can't explain that.
Yeah, it's weird. That's intriguing. That was the first time it happened during the night, or was that when you asked for it, or did it happen again before that?
This is literally like what you see there. Was like the first 30 minutes of our investigation, maybe 20 minutes of our investigation. So it started hitting pretty quick. I had just purchased. I got like a really good deal on those these EMF detectors and stuff. So I had like 12 of them, and I brought them. And I'm like, I'm just gonna put them around the house, and see if we can track where this thing's at. And like literally, these things were like showing us where to go and like what room where it was at. And it's hard to see it on this video, but when I'm in front of that mirror in the bathroom, I asked for you to show yourself, and a flash of light appears like on my left-hand side or something, which was pretty intense, and that didn't come from anywhere else. And we tried to debunk it for a while, and we couldn't figure it out. But what you can't really hear on the video is this clawing noise, dude. Was just so intense, coming from the walls.
Well, what would you describe it at? Like how would you describe the?
If someone were to be slowly moving a rake across drywall is what it kind of sounded like.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but from the other side of the wall,
Oh,
so, it was pretty intense, dude. But as far as and then Marie, of course, her getting sick, and as you can tell, when we're in investigation, it's all business. There wasn't any it was do we need to stop? Are we going to continue? And she's you can tell that's how she is, dude. Just jumps right back in the session, throw it up, and then she goes right back in there. But that's generally how our investigations go, as far as I guess my assertiveness with spirit, especially if it's something, that I know I can get its attention by doing so, then I will. Not so much provoking or anything like that. It's just it tends to work with certain cases, but that's those are generally the kind of cases we take. Residential.
Sorry about that, guys.
Hello, Patrick. He was in here. I don't know if he's still in there because we were watching that interesting video. But yeah, he was the one that we're talking about for the one hospital investigation we did. It was pretty interesting. So yes, if that scratches were also interesting. It had all over her back. What's interesting about the scratches, it looks similar to the scratches from another case I did, and it's the same type of they have similar looks. Yeah, high raised. It doesn't look self-inflicted. It doesn't look like fingernail scratches. Right. Yeah. And so it's interesting that they have there's some similarities from different investigations and having similar looks to it. So it's the one that
looked almost like an animal claw. The only way I could describe it is I don't know, a cat claw, how they work. You can tell how small they are, And if she would have accidentally done it, you would see larger, of course. So you can tell that you've been doing this for a minute because you can pick up
that part of the back. I don't even think you could even get that high or
no.
Yeah. I did my own experiment on the PRU case files show of ours of where I scratched myself in multiple different ways to show, because we had a client that was scratched on her back, and I used my fingernails, a knife, and a paper clip to show the differences and what the reactions of what a scratch would look like. Fingernails are way too thick. They look very different than these scratches and the ones that we captured. Extremely different, and I could not recreate these exact scratches. It's almost supernatural in a way, because you couldn't get recreated. Then again, it was me. I know that our skin could react differently. Maybe it's my client. I'm not going to scratch my client, though, just to prove a point, though.
Real quick, let's compare. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, let me scratch you for a second. But that's the closest results I can give, and there's a huge difference. If you guys go check that out, it's the PRU case files. That's an interesting case, and I wanted to show that to everyone, and because there's a lot of people out there that sometimes think it's faked and everything, but we couldn't even recreate it when we purposely did it to myself. So. It's very intriguing. I think.
Now, Marie's been attacked several times, though. Correct?
Oh yeah,
throughout the years.
Yeah, well over a dozen times or more. I mean, that one right there wasn't that bad in comparison to the worst one she ever received was in Yuma at the Central Hotel. It aired on Ghost Adventures as the Lutz Casino, and then on Haunted Case Files they called it Central Hotel. Same case, same situation, but on that one, like she was, it was like in the middle of her back. It started like from the top all the way down, and it was like, I mean, it was bleeding and welted, and yeah, dude, that was intense, man. We ended up like supposedly there was like a portal down some hallway, and you know, to that point, like I never really believed. Like I hear that, and I'm like, okay, whatever, dude, like a portal, whatever, dude, you know. And Marie kind of like, I always call it Blair witching out, like because she kind of gets in the zone and she'll end up like in corners of like buildings and stuff, rocking back and forth, and it freaks me out. It scares me, dude. Like what are you doing, you know? And we'll find her in like weird places and stuff sometimes. And she started walking. She was onto something. So we were in this hotel. It was really cool, man. Like the bathrooms led into other hotel rooms, closets, which then led into hallways with windows in the hallways, which would then lead into another room's bathroom and into a closet. So it was like, you know, like old like speakeasy.
Sounds like the Winchester house.
Yes, that's what I call it. I call it the Winchester House of Arizona.
That's what I was thinking at
Yeah,
this.
so
I was thinking that's crazy.
She's just going crazy, dude. We started getting plaster thrown at us down a hallway, and I'm telling her like, "Hey, we're getting stuff thrown at us. Like maybe we should go back to the team, you know, back to base camp." And she just wouldn't listen to me. And the next thing you know, we're down this hallway, and she's like, my back. And I thought she was having like a back spasm, or she, you know, like cramps or something. Like, why don't you lean up against the wall or something? She's like, I can't. And then I lift up her shirt, and as soon as I do that, we both saw these like black hands reaching out for us, and we felt like we experienced a time slip. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that before, but like
I've heard of that. Yeah,
I've only felt that like in my near-death experience, to where I felt like I was at a different place where I was not coming back, and we were both terrified that we weren't going to be able to come back to see our children, and we panicked, man. Like it was just like, it was this feeling of just like where we weren't there. We weren't anywhere else. We were kind of like floating in like time. It was so weird, man. And we finally got out of it. But the crazy thing is we didn't even know it. It aired on Ghost Adventures and everything. And like I played back the footage after it aired, finally, after the 2 shows it aired on. And like literally like there's 2 little girls talking, and they were saying like, ha 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 ha, we got you, you know, and like, how did I not catch that? So like, I mean, was it 2 little girls that got her? I mean, I don't really know. But definitely a creepy place. I know they're really like not letting a whole lot of people in there right now. I'm trying to get some things going to get back out there again, but they're definitely not really wanting to open their doors too much. I think worried about liability issues and stuff, especially with some of the stuff that went down on the shows and stuff with the Ghost Adventures, as far as like evidence, and worry that people might get hurt and stuff like that.
Okay, so new challenge. We all consider things that make scratches and tested them at on Matt's skin, and who comes nearest to the scratches win. The closest ones that looks the closest to the original scratches was the paperclip. Was the closest, but still looked different.
Yeah, it broke the skin. The paper clip broke the skin, but
it didn't raise my skin.
Right. Yeah, it didn't raise your skin.
Yeah,
and that's what's weird about those scratches that Marie had, and we called it Tony's. How they looked like they literally came out of the skin,
and like within the body almost. Yeah, it's weird.
Crazy, dude. Yeah.
And I found that very.
It gives me chills. It gives me chills thinking about it.
Yeah, I know. When you said like inside, I was like, oh shit.
I was setting up our DVR system for the case, and Matt goes, "Dwayne, you're missing it." In the video, I'm like, "What am I missing?" And I go and look, and I'm like, "Holy crap!" You know?
Yeah, dude, it's intriguing as hell.
Got scratches.
It's different, like different entities. I'm realizing there's entities that can do different type of scratches, because at the Mackay Mansion they looked very different. They look like straight up burn marks both times. Both scratches look burns, like someone like literally took something hot and did a line on them. That's why
we got branded. That's what it looked like.
Like Jason and Dante, they look like burn mark. I want to do a video about this, guys, in the future. I have video of both scratches. And just 2 comparisons, 2 different type of scratches I've found so far, and I find that interesting.
Yeah, I've seen some weird stuff. Like when we were on the one demonic case that I say that we've taken, we were preparing to go on an investigation, or actually we were preparing to talk to them on the phone actually, and my wife sat down, and burn marks started to appear on her leg. I don't talk about this too much, but like literally like these burn marks, and it said the word 6, the number 6. It had like a heart, and some other weird like symbols and stuff in it. And like I took pictures of it, and I put my hand over her leg, and I prayed over her leg. And the crazy thing is, when I moved my hand, you can see my handprint and still all the burning around her. And it took about 30 minutes for it to finally go away. I've never really shared that. Like I have a lot of stuff, dude. Like, you know, like there's stuff that you guys do. I don't know if you're the same, but like we have a lot of stuff that we've done that I kind of like, I have on thumb drives and stuff, and I have it in our vault, you know, where it's like, it's hard. It's hard enough for me to believe the shit that I've seen myself. You know what I mean? So there's some things that have happened that are even like blow my mind to the point to where this is so out of like left field that no one's ever going to believe this. Why would I even share it? Like, I'm just putting it away. You know what I mean? So,
I would just share it. Like for me, I do it for research purposes, and like if anyone else has captured something similar that they could talk about it, that'd be interesting.
Actually, I protect my stuff as well, as far as like residential cases and like things of that nature. You know, maybe the if they say I could release it, you know, it just depends on the situation in general. So
yes, with our residential case, I actually like it for PRU case files. Usually, I would go more in depth with a episode, but I cut out like all the details and everything because it's a client and you don't want to go into the personal stuff.
People, yeah, you don't want to screw up their whole life. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So and she did sign like documents and everything too, but because I film when I do my stuff. So but yeah, so I was just basically just focusing on the evidence, and that's it on that case. And that's what I would do with any YouTube video with a client case. I would not go into their personal life stuff and then expose that on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, what's do you have that footage of like that demonic case you're talking about? Like, is it on YouTube or something?
I mean, we talked about it. Some of the evidence is featured on. We got rights, the family, because they wanted it to be used as like educational piece on a larger scale. So they agreed to allow us to use it for Travel Channel on a case. So I think it was season 1. But the majority of that episode, it wasn't so focused like on their house. It was what was happening in my own home. Like literally, dude, like we were doing our pastor at the time, he passed away a couple years ago. Like he was like my Obi-Wan Kenobi, I always say. And now that he's not here, he's like, I can just hear him in the background saying, Jay, you can do this stuff too. Like, why are you not doing this? You know, but like he was there and always with us and stuff. But we were doing a blessing of the home. And it was the first blessing that we had done. And we it involved a lot of stuff. I mean, Ouija board was part of it, but that's just a form of communication. It just kind of helped open up old wounds in the house is really what happened. And they were messing with a whole lot of other stuff. Some stuff I can't really talk about. But long story short, they left some of these things outside the home. And the next day, the father had instructions on how to dispose of them properly. And he was going to do that as a family with prayer and everything. I was like, that's a really great idea. Let's do that. You know, let me know when it's done. We left. The house was clear. Everybody was sleeping in the whole house, and all the clients fell asleep. We had to lock the door behind us. Everybody was so peaceful. And we went home, and my babysitter was like jumping up from the couch and running and saying goodbye. She's my niece, and she's like, "Goodbye, Uncle Jay. Goodbye, Aunt Marie." And she like runs out the door. I'm like, "What the hell's going on?" Like that's weird. That's not like her. So her mother calls us and says, you know what just happened? Like while you guys were out investigating and she was watching your kids? Like, no, what happened? And about that same time I had walked into my bedroom, there was water on my floor and my door was like locked and everything. Right. And, everything inside my bird cage was flipped upside down. And like, there was bird seed everywhere, water everywhere. And my babysitter, my niece, she reported that the same time, like to minute, dude, we were doing the blessing in the home, that she reported like the cage was slamming against the wall in our bedroom and the bird was screaming to the top of its lungs. She didn't know what to do. She didn't want to go in the room. I mean, she had access. She could have got into it if she wanted to, but she was just scared to do it. And the bird was unharmed, which is really weird, right? The next morning, at about probably, I want to say 9 o'clock, like a blood spot appeared on my carpet. Probably the size of like a Coke can, like in diameter. And it was like wet blood. And I freaked out, like what's going on in my house. We're like looking around, like I checked my animals. My animals okay? My kids okay?
I was going to ask you, did it look arterial or did it look more like just like a regular cut blood?
It looked like stuff that I've seen in working in the jails for 10 years. It was pretty nasty looking. And my wife saw it. I saw it. So we immediately were worried about our kids or animals. Everybody was fine. We weren't bleeding. We were looking for any other sources. Couldn't figure it out. And subsequently, we ended up finding within 5 minutes, one of our knives were missing in our kitchen. And we were really careful about these knives. We put them up in a certain spot and everything to get them away from our kids. And we found that knife underneath my kid's bed. And I went back to go clean up the blood spot, and it was completely gone. So we were both looking at each other like, what the heck? And then we got a phone call about 30 minutes later that, sorry, Jay, sorry, Marie. My kids woke up early this morning, and they took all the stuff that they were using to communicate back into the home. And it's much darker here now. They did something, and I don't know what's happening. Like, the house is rumbling, all these, like, no way, dude. But long story short, with that case, the last time I went to go investigate it, my wife had planned it. We had planned it out for the day. It was on a Friday night, and we had ran all of our errands that day. And out of nowhere, dude, probably around 12 o'clock, my wife started saying she wasn't feeling too well. She wanted me to go lay down. So by 2, she kind of passed out on the couch. So by 3 or 4, I'm starting to pack up the car. So each time I leave to go pack up the car to come back to the door, we lived in a condo. And I had to go down the stairs and around to put the stuff in the car, and I'd come back. And each time I came back, the door was locked behind me. Not just locked, but the bottom lock with a deadbolt. So I thought my wife was pissed because she's like, oh, you're still going on this case when I'm sick, that kind of thing. So I'm like, what's going on? And she was asleep. So I'm like, maybe I'm somehow locked. What am I doing? I'm not in my right mind. And I walk into my bedroom to get the last of my equipment. And I had about 500 business cards, in a box on my desk. And I saw them with my own eyes get picked up and thrown right in front of my face. And I stopped cold. I did not just see this dude right now. There's no way I just saw this. And I'm sitting here trying to find any other explanation how they just shot 25 feet across the room and landed right at my feet. And their business cards for our paranormal group. Well, you think that would have been stopped there. I didn't. So I continued loading up the car, and I come back in. And my wife is completely not feeling good. She's awake, and I'm like, hey, did you the cards just happened? And then it sounded like bowling balls, dude, were hitting our ceiling, dude, literally from the sky. It was this vibration. We thought there was maintenance on the roof. We were looking to see what it was. There was no explanation. And then we started hearing a male voice. It sounded like electronic, almost like an ovulus, dude, but it was traveling around our house laughing at us, dude. And we're like, oh my God. So I called my pastor, and I'm like, hey, dude, we're trying to go to this house right now to fight this demon. And it's in my house, dude. What am I going to do? And he's like, well, you have the water, you have this, you have that. And I said, okay, so you want me to just do this on my own? He's like, well, you don't have a choice. Do it now. And Marie at that time had moved from the living room to the bedroom. And she hates it when I tell this story because she doesn't remember any of this. But literally, I started doing the prayer that he told me to, and I'm in the name of Jesus and all this stuff, and I'm going through what I was told to do. And Marie gets up, and she's like, who is this Jesus? And I'm like, what the hell? And her teeth are showing. She gets in my face, and she's laughing like a man's voice, Jesus, there is no Jesus. And she just keeps saying this crazy shit, straight out of a horror movie, bro. You can't make this up. It's crazy. And I didn't know what to do at this point, and I was scared to death, dude, because this is my wife. So I had this bottle of this holy water that was from some church or something. It was supposed to be super special, I guess. But I dumped the whole bottle over her head, dude. I don't know, she needs all of it, And I laugh about it now, but
she needs all of it.
She passed out. She passed out on the bed.
That's crazy.
She came to within 2 seconds. And she's like, what's going on? Why am I all wet? Did you just pour water on me? And I'm like, did you know that you just talked to me like a man? And you were like saying that, you know, Jesus is not my God and all this stuff. And she's like, I would never say that. What are you talking about? And I'm like, well, it just fucking happened. It just happened, you know? So long story short, we went to that case that night. We did. I literally like called my whole family and said my goodbyes to my family because I thought for sure by the time I pulled out of my house, I'd be hit by a diesel and killed or something. Like that's how bad it had gotten with this case. But I'm like, I'm confronting this thing, you know? And I went there. We were there for like 6 hours and nothing happened. First hour, I was in the car like crying like a 2-year-old because like, all this stuff happened. I couldn't process it all. And my pastor was there with me, our reverend. He's like trying to walk me through this. And I'm like, dude, this is like, I don't even know, like, this is worth it anymore, you know? But long story short, yeah, I mean, it eventually turned out to where, like, the family, like, had the mother's father used to be a pastor. He ended up going back into pastoring again. He ended up running a whole congregation of, like, hundreds of people and then ended up restarting a church and, like, became this huge salvation guy. So, like, these things were really pissed because they knew the end game was that this was going to happen, I think. So they were fighting 10 times harder to not have that happen. You know what I mean? But that place was crazy, dude. We hear noises like washers and dryers. It would sound like being drug across concrete to, like, doors slamming. We get EVPs, but they weren't just, like, normal EVPs. It sounded like electronic strikes is the only way I can describe, like this pulsating EVPs that were just like so powerful, and then you would hear like this like this concussion behind it, like when they were coming through. It was intense. There was a time actually even investigating there, like I became very influenced by what was in the house, and I walked in the basement and I told my whole team to get out of the house, and I didn't even know what I was saying. I'm like, I want everybody out of the house. Everyone needs to get out of the house now. And I wanted to be downstairs, like, with this thing. And everyone's like, what are you doing? And, like, they kind of had to, like, walk me through, like, what was my logic, you know? But, yeah, dude, there was missing knives in their house as well. And stuff would just show up and blood marks and splatter. And, yeah, it was pretty bad, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was this all, well, I mean, not all of it, but was there a lot of this recorded?
Almost all of it was recorded, yeah.
Awesome. Damn, now I want to see all that.
There was a really, like, I don't want to say poorly done because the production company that did it, like, was very proud of the production. But there's like we're on IMDb for like it's called Trials and Tribulations of the Demonic, and they put together like I don't know, like a 15-minute video of what was kind of going on. Where it's more like talking and interviews, like the family's being interviewed, like legitimately, and they're all blurred out and stuff. But yeah, dude,
you know, I'll keep going. Sorry.
No, it's one of those that you'll never forget, and that was the one true demonic case I ever took. And if I never take one ever again, I won't feel bad about it. So like, I'm not really into it.
There's something like. I hate how the paranormal is being so ignored by the scientific community. Like I want to talk to like literally professors and scientists involved with physics and tell me how the hell are things being thrown and moved on their own with nothing physical doing it.
You say that, like I work behavioral and mental health. Well, I kind of do sort of on and off. And I literally take conference calls, and I have in the past with accredited doctors, psychiatrists, and stuff, where they're asking me these questions of like, you know, like, hey, I have this kid who's going through this, and I know he's not crazy, and I was in his house, and these things happen. Like, how can you explain this to me in your terms? And I've literally sat down and had these conference calls, like, you know, on the clock with my work, and literally like explain to them, like, you know, like what I've seen and things that can help reduce and eliminate and whatnot. So they're out there, they're thinking about it, dude. Like the doctors and the researchers and stuff. They're just scared, dude. They're scared to put it out there.
They're scared, yes. Like, dude, I want to show something here, guys. This was amazing. I just saw this today. Same with Dwayne. captured at our last location, Poltergeist wise, is phenomenal. I'm like, how do you like say that the paranormal doesn't exist when you capture something this crazy? Like, it's insane. Here, I'm going to show it.
A lot of people's going to try to debunk it as wind, but man, if it was wind, other debris would have been floating around in the camera. If it was any kind of wind, this object flips over on its own.
Yes. Here, let me play this stupid ad. 1 second.
That will help me tremendously.
I'm getting you paid, Patrick. You owe me a few cents. Just kidding.
I'm so ready to go out to the West Coast, man. My God, I want to experience some of the shit that you guys have experienced out there. Man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, guys, this is it. I want to show this to everyone. What you guys think of this? Hold on, I forgot that I'm probably having you blocked again, Dwayne. Or no,
you got Jay blocked.
I got Jay blocked. There you go. Okay, that's fixed. Okay, guys, check this out. Check this out.
Whoa, listen.
Look down the hallway, on the floor. Did you see it?
If you look closely down the hallway,
right down there,
you can actually see what looks like a piece of rock.
Nothing fell, right?
I like it in full motion because it looks even crazier in full motion. Because he slows it down in the replay. Okay, look down in this area.
Closely down the hallway, you can actually see what looks like a piece of rock flip over.
I saw it.
Has sound to it and everything.
Wow.
And dude, if you watch the full episode, things are thrown at us multiple times during this investigation. Literally thrown. And it was funny. Oh crap, I can't say about it the next part. Part 2 I could talk about when it's released, but something else in part 2 that happens that just validated that this isn't stuff falling from the ceiling or whatever, because I was even becoming skeptical. Again. I was getting skeptical at one part of the investigation of like, okay. And then it just like completely disproved me right when I said something. This entity was listening and it was like, no, I'm here. And then I just have to wait for part 2 because I can't give away things. But yeah, watch this full episode. Last Encounter is on the haunted side. Very, very crazy. Things are thrown, moved, shadow people, calm video. This is insane. Lassen County Hospital. But yeah, seeing that piece of you even hear the sound to it. It has weight.
Lassen County Hospital.
It has weight, guys. Like when you listen to it like move.
Nothing.
Yeah, like I said, it looks to me like a piece of tile.
No, I just
Didn't you hear it?
No, I heard it sail over our heads.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
This is right after someone was thrown at us, by the way, and then this happens right after someone's thrown.
Whoa. Listen.
And then we heard it. Something's being moved over there. Flipped. So cool. I'm giddy right now. Yep. All right.
Yeah, you're
incredible. Giddy. Incredible. Just piece of rock. Flip. And I haven't reviewed the footage yet, but other things have happened, and I'm hoping.
But I can see what you're talking about. There are other pieces of tile that were there. How come none of them actually kind of moved or anything else if it was that light? So, yeah, I see what you're trying to say.
And also, just by the sound of it, it sounded way too heavy for fucking wind to just flip it over, unless it was a super gust of wind, and you don't hear any wind.
Wow.
So, that's crazy stuff, guys. And I was so surprised. When I first watched the episode, because I didn't even know, we heard a lot of things. I didn't know we captured it. I didn't know that we actually captured on video because Patrick's holding this stuff from me. Hasn't sent me anything yet. He's like, oh, I'm just gonna edit this episode, and then maybe after the episodes are out, then he's gonna send me everything because I'm going to be making a video of breaking everything down because that's what I like to do on my channel. I break down evidence, and so I'm going to be breaking everything down. Also, I want to talk about the Mackay Mansion experience. So basically, it's going to be a different type of video on my channel later. But yeah, guys, that's insane. That was like crazy to me when I saw that. I was like, whoa. I love it when we capture things moving on camera. I'm like, okay, physics professors or physicists out there, tell me, how are things being moved like this? Like, seriously. But intro for my channel with that deep voice. That's funny. Yes.
Nikki Rocks. Welcome to the Nikki Rocks channel. You can download that now and
clip it. Clip it.
Clip it right now. Welcome to the Nikki Rocks channel.
Out of curiosity,
I'll do voiceovers all day.
Out of curiosity, Jay, have you caught anything moving on camera before?
Yeah, absolutely.
Send me it.
We do a paranormal conference out of Vulture City, and you would think with like so many people, like during the public ghost hunts and stuff, that nothing would happen. But my camera guy caught an actual door like slamming like on command, and you see the door like wind up, like someone like grabbing it. And then it like slams, and you see like all angles and everything. Like makes no sense. Shouldn't have happened. Caught that on video. That's like the most recent thing that we've caught out of Vulture. But we're out there all the time. So
yeah.
But I always miss it though. That's my biggest fallacy, dude. Is like I'm so stupid. You would think that like all the years of me ghost hunting, like with my camera, like I would bring it where I'm looking, you know. But like it's always that moment like where I turn my head, like what is that noise? And I have my camera looking at a freaking wall. And then I'll see something move, and I'm like, "No way, dude! Like I just missed that, you know."
Oh yeah,
it happens too often for me, man. It pisses me off.
Oh yeah, it's happened like three or four times. Something's moved on, and I didn't capture it on camera. Like I had to literally, when I was working with Soul Seekers, I literally had a voice recorder thrown across the room at the Mackay mansion.
Oh wow!
None of us captured it. Yeah, none of us caught it on video, just the sound of it. And it was crazy. I got to see the voice recorder lift off.
Man, that's nice,
and yeah, it was awesome. And I'm like, okay, physicists, explain this shit.
we had recently, I work a lot out of like the museum at the ghost town that we're at, because that's like where everyone comes in and checks in. And we were investigating it like about a month ago, and we were videoing our investigation. And like the piano played like 2 times in a row. And an 100-year-old phone like literally rang, dude, like on the wall. I mean, it wasn't like a loud ring, but it was like like, you know, like what the heck, you know? And then I went to go answer the phone, and like these wires are cut, man, but there was an echo on the back end of the phone, and like it sounded too odd, man. I had to set the phone down and just kind of walk away. And now I wish I would have put a recorder up to it. I mean, just to see if anything came through it. But that led to a whole lot of other paranormal stuff that happened later that evening. But you definitely see a lot of weird stuff like that.
Yeah. One hell of a long distance call.
Telephone to the dead.
Picking the bill up on
know,
that.
It sounds like a YouTube clickbait title. Like you could tell I clickbait this one, even though because I even say demonic attack because YouTuber life. But I purposely put a question mark though because up for speculation. So
yeah,
for debate, demonic attack.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to say that's what it is, but is it? I don't know. Just you can watch the video and have your own discussion about it. But but I don't clickbait it to where things don't happen like live sci-fi and entity attack or got scratched and it's just a live video that's not even live yet. It's like, oh yeah, so you're expecting all that to happen during this live feed, huh?
I have a question. You mentioned earlier about Ouija boards. Do you consider it a spirit communication or a tool of the devil?
I'm
sorry, I keep on Ouija board is the devil, you know. I would always hear it all the time. So
I consider it like cardboard and plastic, to be honest with you, man. I mean, I don't use them. I collect them. I collect them for like other purposes. I mean, just because of the fact that the beauty of the board, the artwork. I have a lot of old boards that I've accumulated from haunted places and just out on the road and whatnot. Now, I believe that Ouija boards are just another form of communication. I think the biggest problem that we all face with Ouija boards, and they got the big bad rap, is because when you're a kid and your mom was gone back in the day, you had your Ouija board out, and finally the planchette started moving. You'd freak out. You'd throw it back in the box and put it under the bed because you want to tell mom and dad. Well, the problem is you never closed out your communication. You never said goodbye. So those things are kind of still hanging around. Is kind of how I explain it to people. But I mean, as far as an obulus, ITC, all that, I think is 10 times more dangerous than cardboard and plastic. You know what I mean? But it's all in the eye of the beholder, man. It's all about intention. It's all about what your motivation is. But either way, we're still making a call to the other side, and we don't know who's going to answer. I mean, and who's going to come through, whether we're using ITC or we're using Ouija boards or we're just doing audio sessions. We have no idea. So that's the
everything.
danger.
Here's the thing, guys. Everything that we're doing is necromancy. So it doesn't make a difference. Using Ouija boards, doing an EVP session, or just talking to them, it's still necromancy. And there's going to get certain things that might come through and might not. You don't know. You're still open those doorways either way. And that's how I see Ouija boards. I think the intent is what is the thing that's different about Ouija boards, because people have a certain type of belief in them. And then having the mindset actually might conjure things in ways because they believe in it in that way. Is my personal opinion and my theory, but take as what you will.
I literally have.
I agree. If you're going to be
about, I think a year and a half ago, I got I obtained it from a friend of mine. It's an actual coffee table, and it's burned in like Ouija, right, on the top. And one of his friends literally cut his wrist open to bleed on the board to conjure a demon through the board. Okay. Now, most people probably wouldn't find that fascinating or want that particular object, but it's now in my collection upstairs. The funny thing is, when I brought it into my wife was like, "You're an idiot. Why are you bringing it to our house?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, this is a really cool story. You know what I mean? I was like, there's nothing going on with this board." So long story short, I had a planchette made for me by some witch friends of mine 7 years ago, dude. And it fit this coffee table perfectly. It was a huge one. And I was like, oh, this looks cool on the board. So I put it on the board, and I noticed at nighttime I would hear something moving around in my loft, where all my stuff's at. And I have tile up there, so it's really a profound noise. And later, I'd go up there the next day, and the coffee table would be moved to the wall or to one side of the room. And I'm like, what the hell's going on, dude? I think I activated the board by putting the planchette on top. So now that I've taken the planchette off the board and put it in a different place, I don't have the problem. Yeah. So they're interesting to me. But like you said, I think it's all in the eyes of the beholder and your intent.
What were you going to say, Rocky? Because you're about to say something when he was talking.
Oh, I was going to say that basically, if you're nervous using a Ouija board, don't use a Ouija board. That's all I was going to say. Don't be there, any spirits here? Just don't use the board. That's what.
Like how. Well, Rocky doesn't take his own advice because he gets nervous when he investigates with me. He still investigates with me.
Yeah, because you're always asking somebody to be scratched.
No, I say everything to me, not to other people. It's like, push me, do whatever you want, and it still doesn't happen to me. It just happens to other people.
All right. Next subject. Hey,
it's the same concept though. Attracts, basically. What do you have any other footage you like to share?
Laying around somewhere, dude.
Laying around somewhere.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm always filming. So like I said, I work out of a ghost town. So I always have my camera with me. So I'm always filming something. We just went to this really awesome place in Bisbee. We literally rented the bed and breakfast in Bisbee because it was I think it was $80. And I was like, oh, dude, that's pretty cheap. This place looks really nice. Let's just stay there. And lo and behold, we go in there, and no one's in this bed and breakfast because of COVID-19, right? And it turns out, like I said earlier, that this was a location of the largest massacre that had ever occurred in Bisbee. And he gives us like the most haunted room. And like, oh my God, great footage of my wife's using an SB7, and I never get nothing off that crap, dude, ever. And like, we had direct spirit communication. It was so precise, so intelligent. Crazy stuff popped off there that night with that. But that was a recent like one that we took like outside of like, you know, our regular town. But yeah, dude, we were pretty lucky to live in Arizona. I mean, because we have like all this cool like wild west stuff. And I look back east, you guys have all the penitentiaries and like, you know, the asylums and stuff that we don't have, you know. So
that's why one of the reasons why I came out here. I was like, I want to investigate asylums and hospitals now, and jails. I was like, so
what's the most compelling evidence that you captured from Vulture City?
From Vulture City, for me, it'd have to be like the audio work that we're doing out there, man. It's like precise like answers and stuff to questions and very direct communication. It just blows my mind, some of the stuff that we're getting. Like, you know, I mean, we've all been in locations where we've done EVP sessions all night long throughout the night and didn't get a thing, you know, or maybe you got like one little piece and it's like kind of like an okay piece, but it's not great. Out there, man, it's just it's intense, man, and we're catching like just like straight voices. It's like,
so
you know, nothing disembodied about it. Yeah.
What type of audio recorder are you using?
I use an old Sony audio recorder that I've had for probably 7 or 8 years now or something. And you know, I've been using it forever. I've just never like really had a reason to upgrade it or whatever. But and it's you know, it's got a USB port and everything. So I'm uploading the files directly, you know, to a computer and able to hear them there. So it's not like I'm having to use another recorder to record, you know, off of that. And then recording all the sound in my house while I'm doing it and the fan clicking and all that other stuff. But that's what I use. It's worked for me. People make fun of me because of it. I'd be like the one that I have because it looks so beat up. But it's one of those things that like I've used so much, I don't even know what I would do like on a case without it.
Yeah. I'm just trying to go through comments. Anyone has questions, we will be able to answer. And if anyone, have you ever been scratched, Jay?
Me? One time in Gleason, Arizona. It's about 20 minutes outside of Tombstone. We were in Bigfoot's cabin. He was a guy that murdered a teenage girl and threw her into a mine shaft. We kind of did like a reenactment or not a reenactment. We kind of came in as a law enforcement officer to arrest this Bigfoot character. And we kind of had this little role play thing we were doing. And like at the end of it, there was like, someone had placed a rock, like a piece of ore, like on this counter, like with intent. Like I know that I should never have touched it. You know, I should have just left it alone. Like I knew, for some reason, I knew not to pick up this rock. And on the way out, just being a smart ass, and I'm taking your effing rock too. You know, and I pick up the rock. Oh, I just lost mine. Hold on.
Wow.
Holy cow. Hold on, guys. Bear with me. I don't know what just happened. That was weird, dude. Like my whole like
the rock.
My light just coming out, dude. That's crazy. Okay.
Story members. He's holding a grudge, man. I'm telling you.
No, but I'm taking this rock, so I walk out, and my neck was like burning, like it was on fire, it was inflamed, and like I had scratch marks all across my neck after I walked out. And they were like actively bleeding. That was the first time on a case to where I ever like had that experience. Now I've had stuff in my own personal life, but never like on an actual case like that. I felt influenced on cases before where I knew that like I was feeling somebody else's energy and where I could have become very violent and acted out like really crazy if I couldn't have got under control. I've been in those situations before, but never like besides that to where I've ever had like that happen. But I still have that rock though.
It's, I keep
Matt's got a rock collection too.
Yep, I keep my
an ugly looking little doll, and ugly little demonic doll that just looks like a stick figure or something. I don't know. It looks like that Beetlejuice when they shrink them. That's what it looks like. So.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's but every single time I have something thrown at me at a location, I keep that item or whatever it was. And the only issue with this last investigation, there's so much debris everywhere. I didn't know where it was and what was thrown. So I was like, so I couldn't save it. I was like, damn it. I wish I had those rocks, but nope, I can't save them because there's debris everywhere, and I couldn't tell what was thrown at all. Even what we just showed right there, we were just hearing it. We didn't even see at the time of that freaking rock, that thing flipping over, and we didn't even see it. Just heard it. It was interesting because it sounded like it did it twice. Because we looked away and we was like, "Did you hear that?" It sounded like down that hallway. We pointed the camera down there. All of a sudden, that flips over. It happens again.
Oh wow!
So that's that was the. It's interesting. Poltergeist cases are the best. I know poltergeist investigations are the best because they're super interactive. This one in particular was super interactive. I want to go back. Rocky, we need to go. And hopefully someone's thrown at you, Rocky. Just kidding.
No. Oh, God. All right, let's go.
He comes out with a whole bunch of welts on him. Yep, they've been throwing a lot of rocks. But so
I never had a rock thrown at me. That was like a first, like ever.
For you as a pebble.
I've heard rock. I know. I still got the pebble, and it wasn't like the pebble came in the direction of coming down on me. It was thrown at my back from a doorway. Like there's no way that a doorway is going to hit like the center. Like the direction came this way. It didn't come like try to hit me or anything. I was inside of a house. There's no explanation.
Yeah, this house is in decent condition. It's not like nothing's fallen apart from it. And Rocky and I at two different times had a pebble thrown at us. So I was at the Mackay Mansion. Virginia City, Nevada is no joke. Go to Virginia City, Jay. It's no joke there.
Don't go.
I'll be there.
Don't go.
I think of the first
don't go.
Of October, I'm there for an
Don't
event.
go.
Do the Mackay Mansion, dude. Ask him.
I did it for the first time last year. I did. John Zaffis and myself. We went in there to like lead the ghost hunt. That place is pretty cool, man. Like that was the first time I ever been in there. Yeah, definitely. But it was like 70.
Oh yeah, I met up with. That was on my birthday last year.
Yeah, because I saw you there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The last time I didn't want to go.
Yeah,
So,
he had some experiences at the Old Wash Show Club that got to him a bit. And then what do? We go back to the Old Wash Show Club.
Dude, the place to go to in Virginia City is the Bonanza, man. That's the when Ghost Adventures recently went there. Doug Carnahan was on that episode. The team that he's talking about that went in there and experienced the stuff it was myself, Marie, and two other investigators. One of our investigators literally like lost consciousness, stopped breathing. There's a video of me. I don't know if you ever saw it. That's like it's out on some little documentary thing that the producer did. But like I literally get in the Bonanza, like in the basement, I get like lifted up. I'm a big guy. I got lifted up and thrown in the shed on camera. There's like movement of objects we caught on camera, a black mass that have formed over our heads and stuff, like crazy.
I'm going to Bonanza. I'm going to Bonanza next. I want to be lifted and thrown.
We ended up walking by there. It just happened to be, I'm not sure if it's shut down, but it was closed when we were there last time. So I don't know if they're going to reopen or not, or if it's just because of COVID. But we did pass by. So hopefully they reopen it up.
Yeah, because I need to investigate it. I need to be thrown one day. It's in my bucket list of paranormal experiences. I want to be thrown.
Dude, that was the first time I've ever
Thrown,
experienced
scratched.
like, that's never been able to pick me up.
I'm still
Dude.
writing
So,
this down.
when my feet left the ground, I was like, "Holy shit! Like this is really happening right now."
Was that like the most powerful thing you've experienced?
I mean, as far as being able to pick me up and move me,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
15 inches,
That-
that's pretty significant as far as strength.
I don't think that's human spirit related, because when it comes to your thing went out.
It's my camera, dude. This is crazy.
Like right when I say I don't think it's human spirit related. It does
Dude,
that.
it's so crazy. It's showing on.
Because I have this it seems like this correlation of events where it seems like when it comes to human cases, objects can only be moved up to 3 pounds. And then when
Jay, I think your house is haunted.
No, that is true. That's very true.
I see a shadow person in your camera right now, Jay.
Let me check something.
Interesting. So we lost our guest. Just kidding. It's a joke. The demons got him.
Yeah. Man, I hate it when it happens with our guests. God.
Why every episode?
I know. It's horrible, man. Next week again? Oh, I forget.
Yes, we're conjuring things over there. Time to investigate Jay's, Erica says.
Could be an interesting episode, Matt.
Yeah, let's go. Jay, we're going to go investigate your place now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where I live, man. It's just me, dude. It's something that's followed me for a while.
Man, I don't have things follow me home anymore. I guess that's a good thing.
Get bored.
I know it's sad.
I know. I'd be like, God, I'm bored. I'm taking off. Forget this, man.
I actually saw something on your screen for a second that just like came down near your hat. I don't know if that was like a little probably some kind of lint thing. Probably lint or something like that. I don't know what it was, but I just saw something come down. Yeah, I just saw that. We could review the live feed, but yeah, I just saw that. I don't know what it was exactly. I just saw it real quick. But yeah, timestamp 150. Okay, so we're almost to an end. Is there anything else you want to talk about that's intriguing?
We did have somebody in the comments was wanting to know what you Jay and Marie has coming up. I know with the COVID thing, it's probably a lot of things have been kind of canceled, but somebody was wanting to know what you guys kind of had coming up.
We've been really lucky in Arizona because we work out of Vulture City, which is considered a recreational. So it's an outdoor recreational facility. So we were able to continue in business even during COVID. So people are able to come out. We run tours, ghost tours every 2 weeks, from late spring to early fall. And then from fall to early spring, we run ghost hunts. People can book out for private ghost hunts at our location. And we also have Vulture City Paracon 2 coming October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of this year. And it is going on. We're practicing social distancing. It's an outdoor venue. We have 15 acres, over a dozen haunted buildings, with plenty of spacing and whatnot throughout. So yeah, it's been a challenge. Don't get me wrong. A lot of logistics and stuff that have been gone behind this year, and making sure everybody was safe and that it was a fun and enjoyable experience. The ghost hunt, we've limited even more this year than last year, to ensure that we're not like right up on top of each other. Plus we have the 15 acres, which obviously does help. But we have a lot of good lineup of guests. Marie and I, of course, will be there because we're the ones helping put it on. But we have John Zaffis. We have Sarah from Ghosts of Morgantown coming out. We have Sam Beltrusis, the paranormal author, coming out. We have a good friend of mine, Colin Bowen. He does a paranormal channel, Paranormal Files. Really good friend of mine. He's going to be coming out. He's got some really good stuff out there. Real cool dude. But yeah, we have a great lineup. Good people. Some people on TV, some people not on TV. Authors, podcasters, and really just people that have a lot of experience in the paranormal. So we're doing workshops by day, lectures. Patty from Ghost Adventures is coming out and doing a live gallery reading that weekend. And then we have Jeff Woolman, who is really into the whole petroglyphs, like in the and coordinating that with like ufology. So he's coming out on Sunday. So we're doing actually a UFO skywatch on Sunday night to end the event. And he'll be leading that.
Nice.
But we have a lot going on. So if you're interested, go to vulturecityparacon.com. If you're interested in my wife and I and stuff that we've done, you can go to yatesfamilyhaunting.com. If you're interested in the Crossing Over Paranormal Society, our team, you can go to thecopscrew.com and get a lot of information about us, our team, request investigations through there and whatnot.
Awesome. So this is funny. Yep, here's my bucket list, guys. Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
And you forgot Probe by Aliens. Probe by Aliens, that was another one.
Oh, yes, abducted. I need to be abducted also.
Are you wanting abducted or are you wanting probed?
Abducted.
You might as well go the whole 10 yards, Matt.
Go the full 10 yards.
So
he's like, you're like, you want the full experience.
Yeah.
Well, if they're abducting, they're going to probe him anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
throw on the Patreon real quick.
Oh yeah. So, well, here's the little thing. See ya. There you go. If you guys want to help,
Go ahead,
Rocky.
If you guys want to help, if you guys want to help us, go to the Patreon, Devil's Hour Productions. Don't ask why Rocky has a gold chain or why he has a gold watch. All you gotta do is just donate. Don't ask questions. Just donate. Please help out. Okay, I'm good. And go to hauntedaf.devilshourproductions.com and get the clothing line as well. Okay.
yeah, we have. I keep getting comments about that actually, about the t-shirt stuff. So yes, we have t-shirts now. There's more being made. It's on the Teespring thing. We should share that link actually in the comments. Where is that link? Did I send it to you, Rocky? I think I did. There's some that are up right now.
I actually sent out I reverted it to hauntedaf.devilshourproductions.com HTTP. If they go to that link, it'll send it straight to the store. So.
Okay, 1 second. Did you share this on your thing already?
Yeah.
Okay, let me go to your page then.
It's hauntedaf.devilshourproductions.com.
Okay. Haunted AF. Putting in the chat if anyone wants it.
hauntedaf.devilshourproductions.com.
I'm good. 1 second.
And while he's doing that, please send money. Please send money. Patreon, Devil's Hour Productions. We appreciate your support, especially Matt Benton. So.
Well, it costs money to do all of these things. So it helps with all the support. Because we go broke by it.
Go broke by it. So.
But yeah, so you also please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's right above. Also, there's all that extra
YouTube
stuff.
Devil's Hour Productions, Paranormal Research Unit, Devil's Hour Productions. Also, the real Matt Benton, real.matt.ben on Instagram, and Paranormal Research Unit.
Yeah, Matt Benton was taken.
I don't feel it. Who the hell is Matt Benton? Like the other Matt Benton. I'm going to go over there.
You're like,
go, Matt. Say the word Matt Benton. God. Go to my YouTube page, /Rocky, RAHKEE, Rocky ITC, Paranormal on there. Of course, Rocky from Chill Seekers, Paranormal. And you can find me on Instagram, RAHKEE. 316-316. Subscribe, be there, subscribe. How much time we got left?
2 minutes. 2 minutes left.
Oh, and just go out Dwayne on Facebook. That's Dwayne West at Facebook. Okay.
And that's all.
Individuals.
I
There
do
we
have
go.
a YouTube channel.
Oh, you
does.
do? What is it?
Dwayne West.
Devil's
I
Hour
just have a few-
Productions. Just kidding.
Well, yes, I've been involved with Devil's Hour Productions since
Please.
2007.
Please support Dwayne West on his YouTube channel.
I just have a few videos.
I'm going to go subscribe today. I'm going to subscribe today.
I got 3 subscribers.
Oh, man.
Try to make it 4 today, okay?
Yes.
Just try to make it 4 this week.
It's going to be hard to
Hopefully,
search for you since you only have 3.
Oh, well.
Oh, no. It was actually, this is the first time I've ever seen someone with only 4 subscribers easily be searched.
I have 4 now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Woo, thanks, Rocky.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Subscribe.
Help subscribe. Help Dwayne now.
You have
If you
5
got
now.
some money, subscribe. That'll help us out a lot. Just subscribe. If you don't want to send money, just subscribe to us, and we appreciate that.
And then here you guys go. Go to this channel too.
5.
I haven't checked it in a while.
Okay, guys, that's about it. I had a lot of fun. It was good talking about the evidence and everything.
Oh man!
Thanks for joining us, Jay.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate
man.
it. It's a good time.
Yeah, I had a good time too.
We're gonna
Okay.
send you out a Haunted AF shirt. So we'll get the info afterwards. We'll send you and the wife out some shirts. So
Awesome.
Appreciate
it. Sounds good, buddy. We appreciate it.
Okay, ending broadcast.
till next week.